Carlton. Welcome to FMTrain.tv, where every day is great FileMaker training. It's been a very exciting seat for me to sit in lately because I've been interacting with Claris quite a bit. In fact, as soon as I'm done introducing Nick, I'm going to go back and talk to them some more on what they're up to. A lot going on. I'm encouraged by the direction they are going. I want to welcome, now we're going to spend a moment here. I'm going to cover the upcoming broadcast schedule real quick, and then I'm going to cover some other news. Nick's over here. Nick is being quiet. Nick is busily working with his customer projects and keeping his customers happy. All of you should encourage Nick to keep his customers happy. We love Nick. All right, day 4, day 5, day 6, 1, 2, 3, functions in FileMaker, but mostly kind of get functions. Thursday, monkey spread 14. So this new version of monkey spread, he grinds up 4 completely live monkeys into paste and puts them in a jar. That's monkey spread 14. I am actually starting to deploy it and roll it out with a customer and test it to make sure it's working as expected. Now, I will be completely honest over here on this last day right here. Christian Schmidt is going to show you the simulator in Xcode for the Apple Vision display device. Now, my team thought that we should have one, but 2 problems happened. One is that not enough of you have been buying our bundle training. So as a reminder, if you want to support the channel, buy our training subscription. If nothing else, you'll get valuable training, and you also put a couple bucks in the piggy bank so we can afford to experiment with new technology. So I did not buy one of the Apple Vision devices, largely because I can't come up with a business use case for it in the world of FileMaker. It's a $4,000 device. So it's going to be so expensive that the only people buy it initially are the people who just want to play with a new toy. Now, for aviation training and flying the helicopter, we're going to glide or do an auto rotation. We glide the helicopter and land the helicopter. I think that could be bad training. And for the kind of cost that's going on with aviation, it makes sense. But in the world of FileMaker, I'm like, what do you do with this thing, right? It might be amazing, but anyway, so I don't know. I think it's great, but I also have to pay for DEF CON. I'm taking like 8-9 people to DEF CON. By the way, speaking of which, I'll be in Texas starting January 31. So if one of you or the live stream people want to connect with me, let me know. Friday, we'll be talking about that stuff with Christian Schmidt. Now, we're going to hand off to Nick. Stand by to transfer control. Nick, are you ready to accept control of the show?
Yes, I'm ready to accept the control of the ship.
All right, you are there. You're cleared. Yeah, and we say in the business, you're cleared hot. Cleared hot.
Okay. So thank you everybody for joining today. So I'm very happy to join you, and hopefully we'll have some fun today with this function webinar that I'm doing right now. So this will last for a long time. You know, what we do now is work through all the function in the calculation and use them and learn about them and try to demonstrate them in a real world situation, not just theoretical, right? And show you how you can use them and how they can be useful, and sometimes tell you how you should ignore them, right? Or sometimes how to use a function in a certain case, right? Okay, so so let's go to my screen here and make that bigger. Sorry for the mess. So last week we were doing the get as date stuff. So we have some fun on this, the get as date, right? So now I think it's time for me to get a new layout, you know, and duplicate this and right, and open this and close this and have this to be removed completely. Okay, so I have a new layout and I can continue. So last week we stopped on the get as date, right? Here we stopped here, get as date. Okay, so now we're going to go to get as number, get as date, and this one now is too specific, and I don't want to waste time on this. So get as date, get as time. So we run those, right? We're going to run those, and so let's start with get as number. This is a pretty simple one, right? So the get as number is to, let's say, something I want to recap, okay, that I was saying last week. Get as date, get as number, get as text, get as time, get as timestamp are the same uh, as using a field with a specific type. So when you do, let's say I have a text field, right? So let's have a text. Let's say I have a text field, right? So I have two fields here. Let's put two fields. I have the text, right? Text. And I have the number, right? So there are two different type of fields. Okay, so when I enter the text here, I can enter text, text, and numbers, right? But here the catch, because FileMaker sometimes, but it's like some field types sometimes, FileMaker has a huge history, right? Like 30 plus years of history. So and we have what we call legacy behavior. Okay, it's legacy behavior. It's the behavior that Claris, FileMaker, Claris, whatever, never wanted to cut, never wanted to remove or change the behavior because they don't want to break an existing solution. So you can have a solution made in 1984 with Nashoba FileMaker before the first Claris time, and you can open that file with FileMaker 20. Following a process, but you can do it. You can do it. So, and they don't want to cut any legacy behavior. They did once, right? They did once. Who remember? Okay, I reformulate. Martha, are you there?
I am here, yes.
Who remember about this function?
Okay, that's definitely, I was probably a small child when it existed because I don't remember it.
You remember. So the audience knew about this function.
Yes. Yeah, Labo's like, yep, too old. So
that function existed. And it was a pure nightmare, but was useful. Okay. It was operating like an unstalled calculation within a calculation to get the current date. And one day with FileMaker 3.0, FileMaker 3.0, the big thing about this FileMaker was how funny the icon was. It was the icon of this building with the people on the top of the roof that tried to suicide. I don't know if you remember that icon. So the icon was a building, right? And you had people on top of the building. So, and they're struggling with FileMaker. We were saying, why they have people on top of the building because they want to jump, right? So, other than the icon, that was funny. They introduced the first get function on FileMaker 3.0. So, and they remove the today, right, with the get current date, right? They stripped out the today, and that was like people really committed suicide because they removed the today function. The customer was pissed when they removed that function, and I was more than pissed. And I remember I never used Prepper for a long time. Why? It's because they destroyed all my production. Because who is not using the get current date today? And how often are you using get current date? So imagine that tomorrow FileMaker come, we say, oh, by the way, get current date doesn't exist anymore. Right? Imagine they do that. How pissed you will be. That means you have to go all to your customer and change all of this. So because of this bad, very bad memories, they don't want to change any behavior. So that being said, about some history, this behavior is a legacy behavior, the one I'm going to show you. In a number, I can type text, type number, and I get, and I get this at the end, so number. Yeah, it's a number. But, it should remove so I can put text and number, in a number field. Okay. Why I should have edit box? Yeah. So this is a legacy, right? So I can put text and numbers in a field. Oh, now I have it. So, and you get this, right? You get like a what's the name? How you name that? It's root, square root. How you call that? It's a mathematical scientific like number like this. Okay. So because there's text and numbers, right? So this behavior is, from the past, right? So the numbers. But when you put a number in a field like this, right? In a text field, in a number field. And if you put a number on the text field, that's a big difference. So I'm going to show you the difference. So let's say I'm putting 1 here, 1 here, right? I'm putting 2 here, 2 here, 3, 3, right? And I'm putting 11 here, 11 here. I'm putting 12 here, 12 here. I'm putting 13 here, 13 here. And I'm putting 20 here. And I'm putting 21. And I'm putting 22. Right. And I'm doing this. Right. And now I'm going to sort. I'm going to sort the numbers. Yeah, it's okay. 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, 20, 21, 22. Everything good. Now I'm doing this. I'm going to sort by the text. Okay. So to have a field, as a number and a field as a text has a huge impact on the sort. Here I'm sorting 1, 11, 12, 13, 2, 20, 21, 23. And if I'm adding 30, 31, right? So if I'm doing something like this, if I sort by numbers, I have this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 30, 31. And if I sort by text, I have this 1, 11, 13, 2, 20, 20, 22, 3, 30, 31. So it's sorting by the first character here, by the first number, right? Of course, if I'm adding like 110, okay, he's doing this. 1, 11, 110, right? So the sort is totally, completely different, right? When you use text and number. So that is the difference on the field. But you see, I still can put text, and I'm not filtering this, right? So if I go here and I'm saying, okay, I want the number, I get this. So now this is the field. Do we have any question?
Nope, just people contributing. Like a lot of people were saying scientific notation when you got to that part. So.
Yeah, scientific thing. Yeah, sorry.
So
this is my gringo ignorance. Yeah. So yeah, it's not something I use often in English, to be honest with you. So okay, so now let's talk about the get as number, right? So get as number. Well, let's say I have a text here. I have Nick Hunter and 210, right? This is the get as number. It's stripped out, right? It's stripping out all what is not number from a field. So you see the difference between the field, right, and the get as number. Get as number does this, you know. So the get as number, so we can go and visit the help. Yeah, let's close this. Get as number. So see, so you can do things like this, you know. So we can say this, and so date of birth, get as number. So this is the first behavior of the get as number. You strip the numbers. If I put minus, for him, this is a number. If I put dot, it will consider that as a number, right? You understand? If I do this as well, right? If I do this as well, if I do this as well, so this can be useful sometime, right? So it will strip out any numbers, but also if I said this, it will do this, right? It will do this. It will ignore some stuff, you know, because this for him is no longer a number. This is a number, but this is no longer a number. So for him, this now is text, no more number, because there's another number here, right? You understand how it works? Question?
what is the difference between get as number and filter 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? When would I use which one?
That's a big difference. And I just show you. This is minus 200.1, right? And it's a number. It's a number. If I'm adding plus 2, right, it's 200. If I say plus 2 is, yeah, because I have the minus. So it's minus 200.10 plus 2, which is minus 198. If I say minus 2, it's 200.2. So this is the number, right? This is the number. So now, let's say I'm doing the filter, and I'm filtering this with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the difference. So now you say, yeah, but I can do this and I can do this. Yeah, it's true. But this is not a number. This is not a number. If I say +2, yeah, it calculates, okay, but it's not a number. It's not. Why? Because it said .10. It's not a number. And if I add +2, it will understand that as a number, but it's not a number. Proof of it is this. This is a number. -200.1. And this is not a number. -200.10. FileMaker doesn't recognize number as this. This is text. This is the text. This is the number. So now, here's the catch. If I have this, dots -200.10, and I'm doing this, now I have a dot here. Now this doesn't work anymore. I mean, I don't see, it said +2. See, it's not, because now it's considered that as 0 dot -200.10. It's not a number. This is not a number. This is not possible, right? Correct? But if I do this here, it doesn't matter, right? If we consider that, I mean, you see the difference here. So this is going to consider that as a number. Dot, it removed this as an, so it said dot 201. Because now this is the number. So I know this is stupid, this is stupid, but it's to show you the big difference you have between the filter and between the get as number. The get as number. So if I get a better example, if I said, okay, if I said this, 200 products, okay, and you go there and you do the same, okay, so you still have the 200, but this is not a number, this is a number, because you say get as number, so FileMaker will consider that as a number, right? This works, but it's not as strong, as correct, right? Like get as number. Other question?
List get as number, table to number. I wonder what will result.
List?
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat that?
List, and then inside the parentheses, get as number, parentheses, the table to the number, parentheses, parentheses. And David wants to know if it'll sort as a text or a number.
So why you want to do list? So this is what is asked to me. But this won't work because the list needs, this won't work. So let's remove this. This won't work, it's missing. It's missing something. And I'm not sure this is tolerated. Yeah, so it's not tolerated. You cannot put this in list. In list, you cannot put that, and maybe I need something else here, but yeah, you cannot put this in list. It's yeah. So you can, but you need two things, right? So list gets that number, the number, and text. I don't know why you want to do that. I don't know what you want to achieve here. Sorry. But anyway, so don't have any other question?
Nope, not at the moment.
Okay, so let's go further. The get as number, and as I show you as a get as date, I show you. If I say get current date, it returns a number. It returns the date as a number. Okay, sometime when you want to, when you have a big, when you have issues with the date format, okay? So this is what I'm doing, right? Sometimes you have a file shared in multiple environments. Okay, so you have English, French, US, South America, and they all have different type of data. And then you struggle with this. Who didn't have struggled with this, right? So most of the time what I'm doing when I have this problem, I'm converting any kind of date into a number, because this is out of any formatting, right? So I'm storing the date as a number, and I'm rendering the date field render that is going to render the date based on the number, right? So this is an old technique that sometimes I'm using when I have to struggle with dates, right? Also, it takes much less time to sort a date as number than to sort as a date, right? To be honest. So, of course, if I do get as date this, I get by the date, right? So if I say here, I'm getting this number, right? But if I say get as date this, I'm getting back the number, the date, without any date formatting consideration, right? So that was a get as number, right? Sometime is good to have this. Also, sometime, right, we have this type of serial number, right? So it's a text, and we have a serial number, and we say serial number 00001. We use this, right? We use this serial number, right? So, and sometime, what's the serial number? Right? So we have this, and so what we want, okay. Why didn't work? Why didn't work to do this? Serial number. I want to put the serial number here. I want to generate on creation. Yeah, but it's fine. So let's say I can just delete, create new record. So let's say we have this, okay? Okay, but this is a text, right? The serial number is a text. And if we sort by serial number, we'll get something like this, right? Yeah, because it's a text in front. But anyway, if we want to get only the number out of this, okay? So if we just want to get the number, right? So get as number and serial number, boom. This is the number one, right? And this number 2, 3, 10, 12, 14. So we strip the number this, correct? Right? So get as number has some, I'm not saying that's something I'm using a lot, right? But it has some value. To me, the big value of this is this. Sometimes I have numbers I'm importing data like this, right? Coming from an Excel file or whatever, CSV. And so I have something like this, right? And I have something like this, right? And I want to extract the number out of this, right? So get as number, boom. It removes the dollar sign, right? Or it removes the whatever crap sometimes they put, right? You understand? So that's the benefit of the get as number. Also, if you have a phone number, right? If you have a phone number 408, like this with parentheses, and 9 like this. Okay, so if you have something like this and you want to remove all the crap also, you can use the get as number, right? Text, right? And because here, so why I said minus? That weird? Do I have a, no? Why I said this? Why I said minus? But anyway, if something like this happen, right? You use this. What is the, no, ABS, right? So because it's a number, so you have all those functions working, right? To clean up something like this, okay? So you can just do, okay, I want the absolute value of this number, and whatever happen, whatever weird behavior, you have this, right? Also, is doing a trim, right? If I have space here, they won't be there. So see, I have a bunch of space before and after, right? So it's doing a trim at the same time. Why? It's because getting that as number. There's no space in numbers. FileMaker doesn't understand space in a number field or as a number. So space are ignored completely with this, right? So you have plenty of useful case here. You understand? The space will go away with this technique here. So it's a super trim, right? That was for the get as number. So so I have this here. And, okay, that was for the get as number. And the get as text is interesting as well, right? So I'm reading something here. I just want to make sure that because what they say here is like if you get as date late, 3 days. Okay, so we have the get as date, get as text. So the get as text, you can put any kind of data here, right? So if you say Nicholas 2, 3, 4, this is what it says, right? But it convert that as a text, right? It convert that as a text. So most of the time, use the get as text, convert the calculation. That's why they said data here. I don't have any example here because it's not something I'm using. The get as text, to be honest with you, because get as text, even if I put numbers here, it will return as text. So it doesn't do any filters. It doesn't do any type of change. Just I try to figure out what to get as text can do. It's not something I'm using. So, and the help is like, this is the help of FileMaker, right? Yeah, it's for the container, I understand. Uh, um, for the container, but I don't need to get as text to get this. You know, get as text on the dates maybe. Get as get current date, but it doesn't change anything. Current timestamp neither, right? So it's a text, right? Do you guys use this?
Topcat says no. So David says no. Jesse says no.
Yeah, it's I think the usefulness of this is for somebody that do some Java or SQL or whatever, but personally I don't see any advantage since it's not doing any change on the field on the field. So we can switch, because I don't use this. So yeah, this container like this, you get a text for this this review. Just call you just call, when the container data, the formula return, type number, date, time, yeah. See, it's if your number is 98, they do this, get us this and this. That is, this and physical. I don't get it, to be honest with you. I don't. I mean, I might have used once in a while, but I don't remember why. So let's move on. The get as time is more interesting, okay? Because when you want to do a calc, let's say you have a timestamp, okay? So here I have a timestamp somewhere. Let's say I have a timestamp, but let's go to a record where I have something in the timestamp. So be the first. Yeah. So you have a timestamp, and you're only interested on the time, not on the dates, correct? So you say get as time this. It will remove the date from the time, correct? And now it's a real time. That means if I add 10, I add 10 seconds. If I add 60, I'm adding a minute. If I add 600, 6,000, right? I add 10 hours, right? So if I add 3,600, right? Add an hour like this, right? So see, it was 5 p.m. Now it's 1830. So it calculates the date because my computer is on. So the FileMaker returns military time like this sometime, right? So, but it's true, the timestamp is when 5:00 p.m. and 30 seconds, right? But if I do a calculation, the result is military time, okay? But it's time, right? So but I can say, like, for example, if I said this 1700 hours, and if I get as time this is the time, right? But I can say 5 PM or AM, right? So I can do this, right? With get as time. So the get as time is interesting. Also, what you need to know is if you have a time field and you say you want the timestamp into a time field, right? This is what you get. Mhm. So let's put the timestamp and let's put the time. So if I do this, I get the time. So the field, the type of field time has a get as time included. The only one that doesn't have is the number, you know. The number doesn't have the get as number included. But the get as the time field, so a field time defined as a time, I get a timestamp, which is the combination of a date and a time. Then it takes only, it stripped out the date and get only the time. And this is the real time, right? This is a get time. By the same token, we can, work. We can have the get as. We can have the get as day time. No, not the day. No, I want the date. 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 And the date field. So date. But let's say I have a date field, right? And I have a time field. I have this and this. Okay. So this and this, correct? So if I use the get as timestamp, which is the next one in our list, right? And I say I want the date, this is what I get. I get the first hour in the day as date, as a time. The first hour in the day as a time, because I didn't define the time, right? So here I have the current date, the date I have here, right? But now, if I say, I don't think I need to put a space here. Yeah. Now I have a timestamp, and this is a timestamp. You understand? So I build my own timestamp with a space. So date, space, timestamp, like it is formulated. You have a date, space, time. This is a timestamp. Date, space, time. So I can build my own timestamp like this out of two. Yeah, I have it. So get as timestamp. So if I have this, right? And normally I don't even need that, right? Because I never did that, but I'm sure that will work. I define the field as a timestamp, and I'm putting without the get as timestamp, which I don't need, in the field, right? Now, here, I put here. Boom. I have my timestamp. Change with this. See? Change. Right? So, but this is the real timestamp. So you can use the get as timestamp in a calculation. That means you can have this, and then you can say, okay, I built this, and now I'm adding 300, right? So I'm adding an hour, right? See, it was 750, and if I add an hour, now it's 850, right? Correct? If I add this, see, change the date. Change the date. See, it was 23, and if I do this, 22, 23, 22, 23. So it's a timestamp. The combination of this is a timestamp. FileMaker will consider that as a timestamp. So you can add to that calculation. If you don't do this, but it doesn't work. You say 29, right? 29 hours in a day. Is that possible?
No.
Okay, so you understand. It's so it's not working. You need to have the get as timestamp, then you can have calculation on the timestamp itself, right? So you understand that I'm doing the get as number, get as text, the get as timestamp, and you understand that the field type as a embedded get as when you defined the type of the field. Just the get as number doesn't work the same, but I'm not sure on this. I never did that. Just to I'm getting as number in a number, and I'm going to add the text here, just to make sure that I'm not sure this is not possible. So if I set a get as number, and I'm putting Nick 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it doesn't do. The field number is not hold on, get as number. Yeah, it's not doing, you don't have on the get as number, you don't have the as when the field number, you don't have it. You don't have the get, it doesn't strip out as the get as number function. That's the only weirdness on this. And that's why I wanted to make sure, right? That means the field type number is not going to filter the text. When, if I do this, it does. Huh. But for the others, get as date, timestamp, this strip this strip out what it needs to strip out. The time will strip out the time out of timestamp or the time out of the construction, right? And because also for the time, for example, you can say get as time, and now is time. I never did that, but it's okay. Is what time is it? 5:00 p.m. Yeah, it doesn't. Maybe because it doesn't, right? So the get as time, this it doesn't understand. This is time, right? Even if I said 17 hours, doesn't understand. So the get as time pretty much is useful for the timestamp, right? Or if you have a piece of text like this, right? Because if you have a piece of text like this, let's put it US format, right? If you have a piece of text like this and you want to add 1 hour, doesn't work. But if you have a piece of text like this and you say get as time, now it works, right? Now it works. Same for get as date. If you have a date like this, but the date I did it, but the timestamp the same, right? So if you have date and time and you want to manipulate this, to have a calculation on top of this, you need to get as timestamp and boom. Otherwise, you need to put that in a field. But sometimes it's useless to have a field just for this. You have a calc, right? Knowing that, also, before we go, remember the get as date with the variable. It works as well with get as timestamp. So that means I can get as a timestamp this, get as timestamp, and for example, it's the date and space and time, right? And so the timestamp, so it's this, and I have this timestamp plus number, right? So if I do this, so number, I'm adding 3 like this. So I have this timestamp here. So I have a timestamp, the date, and the time. And I'm adding in the variable, right? I'm using the variable. So if I'm using this, right? He understood. He added 1 hour on top of this. It was 8. I add 300,000, 300, 600, sorry. And now I have timestamps. That means for dates, the variable with a get as timestamp will transform variable into a timestamp. And everywhere on all the calculation, this variable will be considered as a timestamp and no longer a piece of text like this. Because if I do this, right, this is what I get. Correct? Doesn't work. Here, it works. Because the variable will be considered as a timestamp or time or date, right? Or number, right? So that is useful. If we don't have any question, we're good to land the spaceship.
On iOS to retrieve the text value of the barcode container, we can use get as text.
Yes. Something like this. There's very specific use of this, but it's very specific. I never encountered. So, boy, just what I can tell you is what he's not doing, right? So he's not stripping out numbers. He's not stripping out, So, on numbers the same. You see the difference between the get as number, the field, right? The difference between the field and the field type text and the field type number is sort, right? And the indexing, right?
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Nick. Seriously.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for coming. We will see you all tomorrow.
Okay.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!